Good morning, Zio here, and today is Sunday, where we go ahead and we take a look at everything we did throughout the week and add to it, or just go through it, something like that. Anyway, so if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do so now. This is the Sunday Gaming Roundup, and let's get into it, shall we? And if you haven't gotten your coffee, go ahead and grab that now. Sit back, relax, and we'll go through the week's news. A lot of things have happened this week, although we couldn't touch on everything. We'll be touching on a lot more of it next week, hopefully. Anyway, we started this week talking about the essentially, what's the word I was going to use? The predictable nature of mass media, of the mainstream media, and The Last of Us Part 2. Everything was given essentially a 10 out of 10. We went through the review scores. It was sitting at like a 95 on Metacritic because there were a few outliers that did not give them perfect scores. And I do want to do a video on that sometime next week, the following week, talking about scores that are like perfect, 10 out of 10. Because there's things to talk about with that. Definitely things to talk about when it comes to giving things a review score of sorts. But, The Last of Us 2, the reviews launched. You can see on the screen in front of you, of course, all these places giving it perfect ratings. Whether you think it deserves a perfect rating or not, that's up to you, of course. My personal opinion, it does not. But yeah, other than that, we did talk about that for a bit. And then the next day, Tuesday, we talked about the PS5 reveal event, and they actually showed us gameplay. They one-upped Xbox on this, which is another video I need to talk about, not this specifically, but the Xbox and a rumor I heard that would be quite devastating to the to Sony PlayStation's PS5. In my opinion, of course, providing the rumor is true. I mean, it is just a rumor. I heard it floating around in a few areas, so there's nothing really to substantiate it, but it's an interesting thing to talk about, right? They did launch two consoles, or launched. They're going to be launching two consoles, a disc version and a discless version. Price points weren't talked about. However, since then, some prices were somewhat leaked onto a site where they had actually put pricing down. I just forgot what those were. Yeah, I'm bad at this morning. But anyway, we did talk about that. We took a look at the games. The new Horizon game looks amazing. They got other games coming, remakes coming, so I would suggest go checking that out. It was fun to take a look at things for a brief moment and see what we got going on. After that, of course, we talked about Persona 4 Golden. It came to Steam, and it also came with Denuvo installed. We talked about the Denuvo, among other things, DRM and other stuff, and how it seems to be a thing that Atlas does somewhat do, where they launch with some form of DRM like Denuvo and then take it out a few weeks later. But it does seem at the time, and still now, nobody's really talking about it outside of a couple of forums on Reddit and Steam. So since I made that video, other people have commented and talked about, or have contacted me about it anyway, where they have received a lot of cutscene lag on the PC side. There was one person who was telling me how they actually just can't play it because their computer can't handle the load of essentially the opening cutscene because the lag is so bad for some reason. And that's a problem. Everyone, of course, is looking at Denuvo for the reason, because that seems to always be the case. If you go into the forums, you've got people arguing to and for Denuvo, because you've got the people throwing around that one article thing that was done where they somehow they came to the conclusion that Denuvo somehow increases the performance of the game, but at the same time, you know, outside of that particular study or article or whatever you want to call it, all instances of, or most instances of Denuvo being installed, regardless of what variant it seems to be, tends to always either have no effect on you know, the gameplay itself or whatever, or it does something similar to this where things are laggy, you know, clippy and things like that, where it actually affects the gameplay or the cutscenes or something like that to make it somewhat unplayable. You know, I don't think I've ever, outside of that particular one thing that we talked about a while back, when looking at Denuvo and stuff in another video, that I've ever actually seen Denuvo increase the performance of a game. Not personally anyway. I have seen it do nothing to a game, you know, where it just literally, it's there, but there's nothing there noticeable while playing the game. Or I've seen it do the complete opposite, where it lags the game to the point that it feels unplayable in certain locations or at certain points, or to where you can't even watch cutscenes and you just have to skip those because they're just purely unplayable because of the lag from Denuvo. Of course, you know, you can come up to your own conclusions whether or not it's worth it or not. You know, half the people on the forum are pretty much saying STFU, it's Persona 4 Golden, just take it and go and enjoy it. While you've got other people who are actually generally concerned at the fact that it's got Denuvo in it. And I probably fall into that category, which really sucks because I really enjoyed Persona 4 Golden, and it was the first game I'm pretty sure I got for the Vita when I did get a Vita, and that's what pulled me into the Persona style of games and made me really enjoy it. So, you know, it's nice to see Atlus bringing games to the PC, especially a Persona title, because I don't think that's actually been done before. I've never really seen anything outside ISOs or ROMs for emulation actually make its way to the PC, so that is nice. Now, if only Nintendo would follow suit and bring its games to the PC somehow, so I don't have to buy a Switch. And I would buy one if I absolutely could afford it, but, you know, problems. Can't do that. Then we talked about this. This is Take-Two essentially destroying a smaller, an indie game developer, Star Theory Games, and that's a hard read. I'm sorry. I mean, I got it. Businesses and things, it's pretty cutthroat out there sometimes with the way they handle things, but it feels so scummy when you sit there and you do that. You contract somebody like Star Theory here to make the sequel to a game that you've already made, right? And they've been in development for 2 years. You're the only one funding them. You're in talks to essentially buy out their studio or whatever, and then the talks fall through. Something doesn't happen the way they want, or Take-Two wants too much out of whatever they want from Star Theory Games or whatever it is, and talks fall through. So then Take-Two goes, yeah, it'd sure be a shame if we pulled our funding for the game you're making. Yeah. And then pulls it, and then sends your entire staff on LinkedIn a message going, hey, guess what? We're no longer funding you. However, you don't have to stop working on the game because you can apply for our brand new studio that we're setting up, and you can go work on it there. And right in the middle of the pandemic and everything, really makes my blood boil. I'm sorry. I hate things like that. Take-Two, you suck. Anyway, then we talked about Cyberpunk 2077 being pushed back. It's being pushed back for bug fixes and everything. I didn't really have a whole lot to say on it. It is coming, or it looks like it's going to be more somewhat in line with the next gen launch, possibly, now that it's been moved back to November, and somewhere near the end of the year, around November or so, there's a good chance that the new consoles are supposed to launch, but I don't think there's an official actual date yet. That's just speculation at this point. And this isn't anything new. I don't think I really mentioned where they pushed back The Witcher 3 a couple of times in other games in the past to work out smaller bugs and other things. So, I don't see a problem with this. This is fine. So far, CD Projekt Red hasn't really given me anything to worry about in the past, and hasn't yet. They make excellent games. They, don't seem to really, cower to twatter pressure or anything. They just do what they want to do and get it out there, and everybody loves it for the most part. So with any luck, they'll continue doing what it is that they're doing, and we'll hopefully have Cyberpunk 2077 sometime in November. And then Saturday was a lot of fun. If you hadn't caught that one, you should go ahead and catch that on Sundays or on Saturdays. Kind of like Sunday. Sunday is a guaranteed. It's going to be this gaming roundup, right? Now Saturdays, I am doing sort of this upcoming game list, right? If you hadn't seen it yet, and if you're on, say, the BitChute side of things, you might have missed the second one because it never would properly upload, which is the thing I do want to go into real quick. But first, let's talk about this. We did do our Sunday or our Saturday gaming upcoming games list, and I was joined with Nathan Seafood Gaming. So if you hadn't checked him out, you should definitely go check him out. He does a lot of streaming and Let's Plays. Excellent guy, great fun to hang out with, and we sat there and we went through the list of everything that is coming out this coming week, not last week, but this coming week. Sort of looked at the trailers real quick, gave our thoughts on it, and talked about other random things, of course. But real quick, if you're on the BitChute side, I apologize. You're gonna see things if you go take a look at say these Sunday gaming roundups when they actually get to go up and things. You're probably going to notice there are stories that just never made it to BitChute for whatever reason. Like this one here. The Take-Two destroys the small studio video. It's still processing at this point, and that's the third time I uploaded it. Still processing. I seem to be having a really bad issue, and I had to upload this twice before it actually went ahead and did. And if you look at this, when it does upload, this is what I've got. It's a TikTok commercial. I don't know what happened, and this is not the first time it's happened. I've uploaded a 10-minute video at one point and was informed, hey, that's not your video, and it was an hour-long documentary on something. I don't know what. And it's not the first time, so I've made sure to double check before I actually hit the show button. So it's still hidden right now. But that's what's going over on the BitChute side, so I do apologize. I am trying to get those things out. However, after about 3 attempts, I do sort of give up on that because I don't have the time to sit there and try and do it again, especially when it takes over an hour for an upload, for it to just be something that's not my video. So I do apologize. If you want to stay up to date to everything, of course, I do have a Twitter. Anyway, at ZeoTGT, that's ZeoTGT. You can go ahead and check me out over there. And you can pretty much stay up to date on everything at that point, because that is the one thing I frequently update with stuff if I'm not going to make it to do a video or whatever. That's where that information is going to be. So, with all that, I hope y'all have a fantastic week, and I see you later. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment, smash that like button, and always subscribe for more. And of course, there are other videos floating around somewhere on the screen, so click one of those and see if you can find something that suits your fancy. Till then, I'll see you later. Bye.